Poor single dad lent his jacket to a crying stranger. She came back and changed his life. It was one of those brutally cold evenings in November where the wind feels like shards of glass against the skin. James Walker, a single father from a small town in Ohio, stood outside the bus stop holding a paper bag of discounted groceries and shivering in his threadbare hoodie. His 6-year-old daughter, Lily, was home with a neighbor, unaware that her dad had just sold the old family television to buy food for the week. Life had never been easy since his wife passed away 3 years ago, but James had learned to survive on love, grit, and the kindness of strangers, though those were rare. He was just about to head back home when he noticed her, a young woman in her 20s, sitting alone on the bench, trembling, her face buried in her hands. The sound of her quiet sobs was nearly lost in the wind, but James heard it. He hesitated. He didn't know her, and he had enough problems of his own. But something in the way she sat, so small and fragile against the weight of the world, hit him hard. She reminded him of his late wife in her final days, trying to stay strong even when everything was crumbling. James walked over slowly, cautious but kind. "Are you okay, miss?" he asked, his voice rough but warm. She looked up, startled. Her eyes were red and puffy, mascara streaking her cheeks. She tried to speak but only managed a shaky nod. "You're freezing," James said, shrugging off his only warm jacket, the faded green one his wife had bought him when they still had dreams bigger than their bills. "Here. Take this." She blinked in disbelief. I can't," she stammered. "You'll be cold." "I've been through worse," James said with a tired smile. "Looks like you need it more." He draped the jacket around her shoulders gently, then gave a small nod and started to walk away. "Wait," she called out. "Why would you do that?" He turned and looked at her, the street lamp casting a golden glow over his weathered face. "Because someone once saved me with kindness. And I promised myself I'd never let that chain break." She didn't ask for his name, and he didn't offer it. He just disappeared into the cold night, leaving behind only the warmth of his gesture. Days turned into weeks. James never expected to see the woman again. Life moved on, the same struggle, the same small joys, Lily's giggles when he read her bedtime stories, the smell of her hair after a bath, the way she squeezed his hand like he was the safest place in the world. Then, one afternoon, something strange happened. He came home from his part-time shift at the mechanic's shop to find a sleek black car parked outside his rundown duplex. Lily was safe inside with the neighbor, but standing on his porch was the woman from the bus stop, only now, she looked different. She wasn't crying. She wore a tailored coat, held a leather purse, and had a quiet confidence in her eyes. "I hope I'm not intruding," she said softly. James blinked, trying to place her. "You're the girl from the bus stop." She smiled. "I'm Evelyn. I never got to thank you properly." "You already did, by being okay." She looked down, then back at him, her voice trembling slightly. "That night. I was going to end my life. I had just been fired. I had no family left. No one to turn to. But you gave me your jacket like I mattered. You saw me." James didn't know what to say. His eyes welled up, and he just nodded, swallowing the lump in his throat. "I made a promise to myself that night," she continued. "If I made it through, I'd find you and return the kindness 1,000-fold. I didn't do it for payback," James said quickly, almost embarrassed. "I know," Evelyn said. "That's why it matters so much." She opened her purse and handed him a white envelope. "Please, just open it." Inside was a check. James had seen checks before, but never like this. $100,000. He stared at it, stunned. I can't take this." "You can," Evelyn said. "I started my own company after that night. I built something beautiful from the ashes. And I've been looking for you ever since. You saved my life. Let me help you live yours. James tried to protest, but she raised a hand. It's not charity. It's love. You gave without expecting. Now let me give because I want to. The money changed everything, but not in the way people might think. James didn't run off to buy a fancy car or move to a mansion. He paid off his debts, bought a modest home for him and Lily with heating that worked and a small backyard with a swing set. He went back to school part-time to finish the degree he'd abandoned when Lily was born, and he started volunteering at a local shelter, wearing the same green jacket Evelyn had returned to him. Dry cleaned and repaired, now a symbol more than a necessity. Evelyn became a friend. A close one. She came by often, bringing books for Lily, cooking dinner once a week, and sharing quiet conversations with James over mugs of tea. They laughed. They cried. They healed. One crisp spring evening, as they watched Lily chase fireflies in the yard, Evelyn turned to James. Do you ever think about what would have happened if you just walked past me that night? Sometimes, he admitted. But I think, something bigger was at work. She nodded. Me too. He looked at her, the setting sun casting a warm light on her face. Funny how one small act can change two lives. No, she said, taking his hand. It changed three. And in that moment, as Lily ran into their arms, squealing with joy, James realized something he hadn't dared to believe since his wife's passing. He wasn't just surviving anymore. He was living. The story of James and Evelyn became something people told each other over coffee, something teachers shared in classrooms, something parents read to their children at bedtime. Not because it was extraordinary, but because it reminded everyone that the smallest act of kindness can ripple across time and transform the world. A jacket. A moment. A choice. That's all it took. So if you ever wonder whether you matter, remember this, someone out there is waiting for your kindness. And when you give it, freely and without expectation, the world has a funny way of giving it back, in ways you never imagined. And maybe, just maybe, your life will be the one that changes everything.